Yo, have you guys been watching these like Phyrexia All Will Be One videos put out by Wizards in the last, I don't know, week or so? There's been two, and they're like about 25 minutes each, and they're pretty amazing. So we just got another one today, dropped about the set, previewing a lot of cards, and then there's one before kind of showcasing the world. We're doing a lot of world building. Overall, I'm gonna be honest, man. So far, from what I've seen, Wizards is putting both feet forward. They're putting a lot of resource on this thing, and it shows. It does show when they put a lot of effort into a set what they can do so far. Now, look, we don't know the single cards and all the reprint value, reprint equity, long-term value of the cards, but with the abilities I've seen so far, with the creatures and the cards that we've seen so far, I'm thinking this set's gonna be a home run. Just from looking at the way that this set is, kind of like portraying itself. Plus, it's kind of like the apex. It's really that like, look, everybody loves Empire Strikes Back. And look, remember, so this story resolves in March of the Machines. That's where I guess we win. But people love the dark side. People love that, like, the apex, the climax of a movie where it looks like, all is for naught, everyone's losing. And that's what this set's supposed to be. This set is supposed to be showcasing how the Phyrexians are way on top. They're way ahead. They're completing planeswalkers. Looks like they're about to destroy everyone, right? And of course, the March of Machines is where we resolve that. But dude, this set is going to look really nice. I think long term, this set is going to be pretty amazing. And here's the thing, like, they put a lot of effort. You can see they have people who are like, tons of artwork for the set, tons of detailed artwork in the set, right? Between the color, the design, the aesthetics, you can tell when they put that much like effort, because the vibe of that world, it just resonates super well. And it's really on point, right? With the oils, the colors, these pieces are so good, right? The mechanics of the sets are good too. Like we're afraid of things like Toxic being maybe not as powerful, but it looks like it's on point. So let's dive into the details, right? First of all, artwork. I think artwork was okay. To be honest, I do love the colors. So there's a lot of positive, but there's some negatives. I love the colors. I think the colors are good. I think the kind of aesthetics of each one of the Praetor and their world is great, right? Having that difference, having that contrast between all of them, and the details in the artwork of how you do the Praetors. For example, like, in Junji Ito's world, right? The like, I forgot what his layer is called, but he's like, there's a ton of eyes and stuff. So he's studying, analyzing everything. Whereas, like, for example, if you are looking at the Elish Norn world, it's all about like power and dominance. It has that really like super cool, high arches, this grand cathedral feel, like Roman architecture feel, right? And she's this like grace, elegance. It's amazing. Like, you can't, I don't know how you want to talk about it, but like the colors, and the fun thing is like all the colors, they kind of do represent their magic identity as well, which, me, like, I love color pie. I think having identity is amazing. So those are all positives, right? For sure. I think the showcase cards, the Icor showcase, my fear with this one is that it's going to be like the sketch showcase where like some of the cards are definitely cool, right? But a lot of the cards, I think they're maybe a little bit too, sketchy. You can't really see what's going on. I think one of the cards they showcased, they're like, oh, look how the face expression of this card is great, but that face is like one tiny little spot on the card. Because the Magic card is not that big. It's not a piece of artwork where you can hang it on the wall and really appreciate it. It's a small little box, so it's not really great for representing something that detailed. That's where I think it misses a lot. And of course, the more or the less colors that you have on a card, the less like, you can really represent when you hold up a card from far away. So a lot of the black and white cards start blending more together, and that's probably not a good idea, like for playing, for just, enjoying the cards themselves. Of course, if you have a blowout painting or playmat of these artwork, I think they're actually going to look pretty amazing. But, we talked about the lands and stuff like that. I still think it's too much. Look, I love the oil slick raised foils. I think they're going to be amazing. I don't have them yet, but when they release with the completed bundle, I think this is March, so there's a little delay release on those, by the way. So people who have pre-ordered from me, just understand, unfortunately, I won't be able to ship those out until March, not February, because February is when the set is released, but the completed bundles don't come in until like almost a month later, FYI. So if you purchase, just be aware of that. But they should look pretty amazing. And the thing is, look, Wizards making it exclusive. You can't even get them in the collector's boosters. The only place you can get them is in that completed bundle. So you know those completed bundles are going to be worth a lot of money. It's kind of like where it is right now, right? At least that's how I'm thinking about it, especially if they limit the print run of those things. But who knows, right? So right now with the whole print run monetization, we don't know. There's a lot of unknowns there. I'm a big Junji Ito fan. And the Junji Ito Elish Norn was a big miss for me. And I don't know, man. I don't know how you guys all feel, but I feel like they gave him a task to draw a Norn, and he drew a Norn. But there was no element of Junji Ito in that artwork. Like if you remember me doing the showcase of the Junji Ito like Secret Lair, you can see the cards that he drew and how it relates to the manga world that he's built and those kind of things, and how those Magic cards and his manga world would blend together. The super high level details on each like piece of artwork. Like what Junji Ito is great at is if he draws a zombie, he's going to show you every single crack, every single boil on that zombie's skin, right? And that's what he's good at. But unfortunately, Elish Norn is like this very graceful, like perfect being. Like even when you look at Elish Norn, she's like, she has like perfect edges, perfect like things. These are just not things that Junji Ito is like really known for. What he hits at is uncanny valley, which is like you take, let's say, a human, like a really photorealistic human drawing, and you twist and turn certain elements of it to make it really like weird looking, right? So I think honestly they should have had Junji Ito do the Vorinclex, right? Because I think that's probably closer to the type of things that are more in his wheelhouse. Like in his comic book Gyo, Junji Ito would draw like animals that have metal sticking out of them, critters, that kind of feeling, right? Like maybe him doing maybe a Shieldred or like Vorinclex, I think it's going to be better. I don't think Norn was the right choice for Ito's work. That's why I think that artwork's actually kind of a miss, but open to, let me know in the comments what you guys feel about that. So let's move on to story. Story, completely L, right? So here's the thing. I'm not judging this on world building. I think the world building is amazing. I think so far what I've seen on the world building is really awesome. It showcases like all the years that has passed since Mirrodin lost and the world has been taken over by Phyrexians and new Phyrexia. The whole world's completed, all the layers. It's great. But honestly, the problem with the story is that there still isn't a story. Like so far, what I've seen is I have to go to the Wizards website, read a bunch of articles to understand what the Phyrexian story is. And in this showcase video, there's not even any amount of time devoted to what's happening, why, who are the characters, what do they care about. I don't know what Elish Norn cares about. I don't know why the Planeswalkers are coming in together. Like, I know the general story of them trying to like rescue the plane and prevent Norn from like opening a portal that I guess connects all the planes. And I feel like just saying that, I'm already better than like 89% of Magic players out there on understanding what the story is. But see, this is the problem. If I consume an hour of your content on your stream, I should have some idea of what the story is. Dude, I have no fucking clue. I have no clue why they're there. I don't know why Jace is there. I don't know why Vraska's there. I don't know why Jace and Vraska has a story. Like, yes, I understand. I haven't been in the Magic world for a long time, but I think that's the problem, is that if you have new players coming in and you're trying to capture them with all this fancy showcase, fancy videos you're producing, do a little bit more to like make people feel comfortable joining and like, I don't know, understanding what's going on. If I'm thrown in the middle of the story, like what is going on? Tell me a little bit more. And I shouldn't have to go through like years of Magic to really catch up with everyone else. It just doesn't make any sense. So again, story takes the L. Like I said before in that showcase video, like about a month or two ago, that I think there's not going to be a story. And as you can see, it's not present. And that's a really big problem too, because this is almost like the Thanos moment of Magic, right? It's like World of Spark again, except again, not a story. Where's the TV show? Where's the anime? Where's the 1 hour short film? Any of this stuff, like the consumable content that somebody can just very casually watch. I don't mean hardcore people who are going to go buy a book. I don't mean people who are going to read your blog that's hidden somewhere. Put it on the podcast. Like maybe Mark Rosewater can just do a story element thing for Phyrexia All Is One before the set drops, not like weeks after or months after when people are done buying the set, right? Do it before. Really, this is such a missed opportunity. I don't understand why we keep doing this thing. Look, I have to give them like huge W on the world building. It's amazing. The world looks amazingly cool. Each layer is designed to the Praetor's like choice and feeling, and the looks and the feel is amazing. So yes, they've laid the foundation for amazing story. They probably should just go tell that story. And I think people are going to love it. But don't just stop there, because if you're stopping there, that's really just super stupid, right? And here's the thing, like most video games can do this thing where they can just like not have a story, because the story is in the game. You play the game and you understand the story, right? And that's what they're kind of selling too. It's just the gameplay is one part of it, but the story, like a lot of people play Final Fantasy games because the story is amazing. They like the story, they like that, arc of a character, whatever, those kind of pieces. And you develop that through play. Dude, there's no way they can tell a story through Magic cards. It doesn't work the same. If you play a match with your friends, you draft, it does not tell a story. So you have to do way more. And this is, again, I'm saying like a trading card game has no excuse to not push the story way more than like a video game. A video game can take a back seat and just let the story tell itself. You cannot do that with trading card game. If you care about the story, if you want people to be bought into the whole, bigger picture of what's going on. Mechanics of the set. So far, the mechanics that they've talked about do seem really interesting, right? So toxic is a big one. I think for a long time, people thought toxic was going to be like poisonous, where, it applies one extra poison counter and it's going to be a little weak. In fact, toxic is basically infect, but you don't get the -1/-1 counters on creatures, in just the poison counter on the players. Now, that is really key, because this actually makes toxic and killing people with poison counters very possible in the actual playing, both in standard and all the different formats. Commander, like, can you imagine now you can build a Phyrexian Praetor deck that's really focused on corruption and toxic and poison counters? I think it's going to be really fun, actually. I might even take a stab at doing that just myself. In addition to that, like corruption, right? So you having toxic's amazing, but then they kind of make it even better, because now there's a mechanic that cares about how many toxic counters or poison counters are on players. That's great. That's a really interesting element. I love it. I think it's just, I don't know what else to say. It's cool. And it's on theme. It's corruption. Awesome. Oil counters. It's thematic, right? So obviously we're on, Phyrexia. We have to do oil corruptions. It makes sense. But I think this is just like a charge counter on an artifact. I don't really understand what oil counters will do. Now, probably we're going to have to oil like creatures and oil things. It could be interesting. So far, it just looks like a charge counter to me, so I'm not that impressed by oil. Proliferate is amazing, right? So if you ever play Magic, you like Planeswalkers, Proliferate is great, because it's not an ability that just sits on this plane alone. It actually affects majority of Magic cards. A lot of Magic cards care about counters, this and that, different types of counters, right? And it helps, of course, loyalty counters on Planeswalkers. So the fact that a lot of Magic is designed around the word counters makes Proliferate almost always useful as a mechanic. So that's really, really cool. On top of that, the set does seem very bomb heavy. You got a lot of like high cost creatures that do seem like they're going to come down and be a threat on the board. You have over 10 Planeswalkers that all seem like they could do something. Now there's we can argue about which one's the best, which one's the worst, but Planeswalker is still a Planeswalker. You lay it down and it's going to be powerful. Again, especially in the limited sense, right? Limited draft scene, having a Planeswalker out there is going to be pretty powerful for a game. So I'm a little bit afraid it's going to be too bomb heavy, where a lot of the games is just kind of like getting to your bombs. But I guess if we're putting more of those and then the countermeasure for those bombs within the actual draft environment, it should be okay, right? So the last mechanic they showcased was something called For Mirrodin. It's basically this idea that like you can play artifacts that also create a token that you can then attach the artifact to. We've seen this before. They pretty much just kind of like flavor worded it. So it's not really like anything impressive. In a lot of ways, you're mostly just paying for an artifact plus the token. That's the cost. So I'm not really impressed by it. Flavor's on point, right? But okay, let's talk about the really impressive part for me. Details. Details for this set is super impressive. Holy shit. Like this is, look, if you want to see Wizard like actually caring about shit and putting effort forward, this is it. Dude, they have a girl. They have this lady who like apparently is on the design team and she speaks Phyrexian. Come on, dude. Need I say more? This is ridiculous. She speaks Phyrexian. Yeah. Look, like I said before, I think design for Magic has been good. I think a lot of the effort is putting into like building good sets. I think the problem I have, and I think a lot of you guys have with Wizards, is the way they monetize, the way they kind of like trick and lie to their fans and players. But look, the people who are in R&D, they're designing the thing well. So what can I say, right? Dude, if you didn't see or check out the artwork for all the Sun's Twilights, go look at them. This is what I mean by detail. These little things that most players would just miss, but they mean so much to the players that do care about them. Like every single one of those, the blue sun, red sun, white sun, etc., right? Twilight cards, they all depict how that Praetor would interact with that sun. And it shows really who that Praetor is. I'll give you a couple examples. Like Junji Ito, his sun is the blue sun, and what he does is he has his hand like, so basically what these cards are is like, they built statues to honor like, the Praetors that win in their spheres. And then of course, Junji Ito's statue is basically a line where he's holding the sun. So like imagine there's like the sun's right here, he's like holding onto it, right? And it's basically, he's controlling it, he's studying it, he's like really, he has like power over that sun. It's really what it feels like. And of course you have like, for example, like Black Sun with Shieldred. Like the Black Sun is like super close to the planet. It's like, it's this ominous, like, do you remember like, is it, what is it? Like what's the black Wrath of God? Doomsday, right? Is it Doomsday? No, it's Damnation. Remember how Damnation, that artwork is like this black sphere that's like black hole that's absorbing the whole plane into it. It has that feeling like it's like, oh, it's like ominous, it's coming in, it's like gonna kill everything. But Shieldred's statue is like on top of it. So as much as massive, as ominous as this like Black Sun is, Shieldred's statue is like above it, right? It has that really like dark feeling to it. And then if you look at like Vorinclex, he's literally eating the green sun. He's like, his mouth is like on top of the green sun. And as I'm assuming like in my mind, right, as the sun sets, it goes into his mouth and he's devouring that. So he is such like, Vorinclex voracious hunger. He is so hungry, he will devour even the sun. And this is just some of the examples of like the details they put in there. You watch the video, you'll understand what I'm saying. Like, this is where it's like, look, for 4 cards that people may not even actually play, maybe they're not that great, they're putting this amount of effort into it. That gets my buy-in, because that tells me they're really thinking through these things. If all the little details are getting right, that means the larger pictures they're also probably getting right. And this is good. This is a good sign. Yeah. And even just look at the Praetors themselves. Elish Norn with her colors and the muscles showing, those kind of things, right? Or like, Jin with the eyes, the study, and, like Vorinclex with all the like horns and shit coming out of his body, right? Like where he's like super aggression, super aggressive, super like, it's all like survival of the fittest feeling. It's just well done. And like the insectoid plant-like thing with Shieldred, it's really amazing, right? It's, again, these little details. And then look at how flavorful some cards are, like Vraska making treasures, right? Turning a creatures into actually a treasure. These type of things. And just in my mind, I think, again, they're putting so much detail into the set. You can tell, and you can see the work, the fruit of their work. Look, the people at R&D are amazing. They are doing good work. And you just have to like, when they put their effort forward, it really does show in this set. Unfortunately, the parts that really pisses us off is just, we don't know. There's still a lot of unknowns. Like, here's the problem, right? Like, I think everyone can pretty much agree from just looking at the cards so far spoiled, whether they're leaked, spoiled, whatever. We can say, hey, this is going to be a good set. On top of that, we probably can understand, like, look, again, from the way I'm describing it, from just the way that they're producing it, they're putting effort into it. The problem is once, the big wigs and the people in the 15th floor of the tower instead of like the 12th floor gets, word of, hey, like people love this stuff and engagement's high and they look at these numbers. What are they going to do about it? How are they going to monetize this? Are they going to print a lot of boxes? Are they going to do some devious shit? That's the part we hate. And we just don't know. I think like, you let the set print out, you see what happens in the market. That's where you kind of have an understanding of like what's happening, what's going on. Is it going to be printed to oblivion? I don't know. But I'm gonna be honest, given the set, given what I've seen so far, I would not be caught in the next 2-3 years in the future from, you know, the set releasing without boxes of PHYREXIA All Will Be One. I think the set is going to actually probably be fine long term. Probably just, you know, you don't need to be aggressive in buying things like this, right away. There will be other deals coming out in the future for you to go pick up these sets before it, you know, goes out of print, whatever. So, you know, maybe watch the market a little bit for a year and see what happens. But again, buy the boxes so you can enjoy and play the game. I think that's really valuable. But beyond that, you really don't need to do anything else, you know, like that. I think the set's going to be fun. I think what I've seen so far, I'm loving it. Yeah. Look, guys, I don't just report negative news. I try to be as truthful as possible because to me, that's what matters. Like if Wizard does a good job, I'm going to tell you guys about it. But if they do a shitty job and they fucking lie to people, I'm going to tell you about it. That's just how it is with my channel. So, yep, Mark Solo Games. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.